Windows 11 is on its way, and it is set to be released sometime in October 2021.
Elgato had a little bit of an explosion not too long ago, releasing all kinds of products.
And the Freedom Phone. Man, the price of freedom sure is steep.
And of course, me, looking for weird tech, I found something very interesting about a screw that can turn drywall into soundproof paneling.
That and more on the Tech Summit Podcast, episode 59.
59.
I'm Francisco.
I'm Chris.
And if you're watching, then you should be seeing the social media that is right down here. Please make sure to find us there.
And of course, if you are listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, all of that will be in the respective descriptions.
Yes, and I actually wanted to give it kind of a shout out to the Tech Summit Discord. If you are interested in jumping in, asking some questions over there, or even just like messaging me directly, since you can do that, in fact, on the Tech Summit Discord, then do make sure to go through the link that is going to be right in the description, whether you are watching or listening.
And of course, we also have to do a shout out to our patrons.
Indeed.
Get that list out.
Especially to the Tier 3 patrons. So, that is going to be Sada Wazel, Omar, and Joe Moss. Thank you so much for all of your support, because it really does go a long way. And it makes it so that we can afford the giveaway items that we give away for the Tech Summit Patreon. So, to all of you patrons, Tier 2s and Tier 3s, you have been automatically entered to win the Raycon H20. And for the Tier 2s, that also includes Armani, Rex Rocks, Dizzy YTT, Maury C, and Luke. Thank you so much for all of your support as well, because it does still go a very long way. And yeah, again, you guys are amazing.
And of course, if you guys are interested in being entered for these monthly giveaways, in this case for this month, it is the Raycon headphones that you recently reviewed too on the channel, haven't you?
Yeah, I ended up liking them actually.
Yes. So if you are interested in being entered for monthly giveaways and also getting bonus uncensored episodes of the podcast where we say bad words, all of that will be in the descriptions of wherever it is that you are watching and or listening to this. Join the Patreon.
Yes.
And help support the channel.
Indeed. Now, on to the news.
To the news. Just a quick note. If you did not catch the bumper at the beginning of this episode, this is in fact pre-recorded.
Indeed. We're currently not here.
Exactly.
Or there.
Francisco is, in fact, on vacation, not in beautiful Ireland, as we see behind us.
Yes. So, let's just pretend that this right here is just a hologram.
So, naturally, we are going to be a little bit behind. We're going to be talking about news and things that happened the previous week, not this past week.
Yeah. So, apologies for that, but if you were interested in our take, then here it comes.
Yes.
Because we're
Windows 11.
Indeed. But a surprise drop, honestly. I know that a lot of you guys have actually been asking for my thoughts on this, and I didn't really know too much about Windows 11 up until I started digging some more. And I have to say that Windows 11 does seem to be just a nicer Windows 10, a cleaner Windows 10, if I may say so myself. I actually have this article pulled up by Avram Pilch. I hope that I did pronounce that correctly. This is from tomshardware.com, and this is titled Windows 11 Release Date Requirements, All We Know, which was posted just a day ago as of the recording of this podcast episode, which is going to be a week in advance.
July 17th. Well, 16th for when that was posted, correct?
Yeah, that was posted on the 16th.
Yes, and we are recording this on the 17th.
Yes. So, it says here, release date for Windows 11 is going to be most likely October, and it appears that it will most likely be October 20th, in fact, so mid to late October-ish. Unlike Windows 10, unlike Windows 10 that was actually launched sometime in the summer of 2015, if I recall correctly. So yeah, quite a different release window there. But Windows 11 is shaping up to be kind of a pretty cool looking operating system. It does have those Linux vibes, or even Mac OS vibes, actually, considering that that the taskbar now it seems to be centered in a way that does resemble Mac OS's, but it's really just in the sense that it is in the center, not in the way that it's all bubbly. And if you're like scrolling through it, it'll like zoom out and things like that. So it is still very much Windows 10, honestly. At least right now, it still looks a lot like Windows 10, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of changes are going to be coming to this operating system.
It does kind of look like someone someone's like theoretical look as to how Windows would look if it was more Mac OS like.
Yeah.
Kind of like almost like fan art ish.
Follow the artist on DeviantArt.
There's probably somewhere out there also like, here's how Mac OS would look if it was more like Windows. And then
Yeah, or if they like fused somehow. So that's so far. Those are so far the expectations surrounding the release date. Now regarding other, okay, this is not loading right now, even though it was perfectly loaded earlier. This is annoying, but
refresh.
Fine, I'll do that. Yeah, that's probably the issue. And yeah, we're fine now. Okay, thank you, Christopher. You're the true tech expert here, not me. Going hands-on with Windows 11, we do have that section. So they're saying that the latest build of Windows 11 so far actually does happen to consist of a new entertainment widget in the widgets area, a transparent background behind the right-click menu, a new look for the new folder button in File Explorer, which is certainly welcome, I will say, because still like the new folder window still reminds me a lot of Windows 7 as it is on Windows 10. So it would be nice to get like a new look to that, to modernize that a bit. When it comes to customizations to Windows 11, so far there are things such as how to change the start menu in Windows 11, how to resize the taskbar in Windows 11, how to get the Windows 10 File Explorer in Windows 11. So it looks like you can actually bring that back. How to move the taskbar to the top in Windows 11. Also, it is worth noting that so far this is going to be a free upgrade from Windows 10. So similarly, how people that had Windows 7, Windows 8, or Windows 8.1 were able to upgrade for free to Windows 10, at least for the first year-ish. They will be able to do that if you have Windows 10 upgrading to Windows 11. However, I remember Windows 10 being extremely buggy for a lot of people when they first tried upgrading for free way back when. And I actually tried to upgrade my Windows 7 Pro PC to Windows 10, and it actually ended up bricking my PC.
Really?
Yes. So I had to revert back to Windows 7. There was no way that the computer could work that way. It wouldn't connect to the internet. It wasn't even operable. Like, it would crash.
Oh, no.
Just upon entering Windows 10. So I did have to revert.
Do you feel like that could be another issue going forward with Windows 11 here?
It could very well happen. I wouldn't put it past it necessarily. This is a new OS after all. And yeah, I mean, Windows 11, we are still going to be getting a free upgrade. I might upgrade right away when it becomes available, but that depends if I'm even capable of doing so, because Windows 11 requirements could leave some out. So when it comes to the CPU requirements, nobody should be concerned, pretty much. As long as you have a 64-bit CPU, you'll be fine. 4 gigs of RAM, which everyone has at least that much on their system. 64 gigs of storage, so that's actually quite a bit of storage.
Yeah, it is.
UEFI BIOS with secure boot. A lot of motherboards will already have that type of BIOS anyway, so like it's fine. There aren't going to be any issues there. The biggest issue really is going to be surrounding TPM 2.0, which is actually apparently relatively new, and not a lot of computers have it installed on the motherboard. Some motherboards have it, but they just have it turned off. So you would be able to turn it on if your motherboard happens to have it. If not, then you would be looking at just buying like the separate TPM 2.0 piece separately, which is being scalped on eBay.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah, they got to it. As soon as they heard about that, they immediately went straight for it. So yeah, it looks like some people will be left out. Like,
and that's a huge problem, because that for a lot of maybe not at the start. Well, maybe not at the start, but I do feel like little by little as we go through, Windows 11 could probably end up being like the requirement for a lot of workplaces, workstations, applications, and all that stuff. Granted, it'll probably be quite a slow and long rollout for that to become a thing, and by then maybe scalping won't be as big of an issue.
mm-hmm.
But we don't know that for certain yet, now do we?
What? Right, yeah. We don't really know that for a fact. So we're going to have to see. I, in fact, have to check if my motherboard actually has CPM 2.0, because that's really the only thing that I'm missing here. Because I already have a GPU that is also compatible with DirectX 12. In fact, most people should. Internet connectivity and a Microsoft account, no offline install. So this is actually another
That's also
thing.
a big issue. Yeah.
Yeah, like I mentioned that earlier before we started recording the podcast that it could end up being kind of an issue. Like it just seemed weird.
It's a major issue.
Yeah.
If you're like out in a rural area and you don't have a stable internet connection, you're gonna have a real tough time getting Windows 11 on there.
Might take a long time to download too. As a matter of fact, I mean, if it requires 64 gigs of storage, that's quite a lot to download.
If you're on a limited data cap, as per your ISP.
That too. So, yeah, like this seems, it's requiring a lot of modern tech, I want to say, or to an extent, it is kind of asking for a lot out of the user right now. And I suspect that this is just going to be the case because, like, this is an entire operating system. It's been built this way. So changing it so that it's compatible, like backwards compatible, I guess, you could say it would be quite the undertaking. It would be quite the task, I'm sure.
Extremely.
Yeah, and like you would have to download like different versions of the operating system. I mean, like there are 32-bit and 64-bit versions of like different operating systems, but 32-bit is seldom used by people. It's 64-bit where it's at. So, yeah, I mean, those are currently the requirements for it. I mean, in terms of aesthetics, looks quite nice. From the pictures I'm seeing here from Tom's Hardware, and let me refresh again, it is purple. So that's cool.
I think that's just a color that you can choose. I'm pretty sure by default it's still going to be blue.
I mean, the purple still looks nice.
Purple does look nice.
Yeah. So
now I actually have a concern, actually.
what's up?
Tom's Hardware, I saw a headline over there saying that even recent CPUs might not be able to run this thing.
I mean,
Scroll.
the requirements for the CPU
Go ahead. Go.
are just
Keep going.
further past that.
Keep going.
Where did you see
Keep
that?
going.
Here?
Look at that.
Even fairly recent CPUs may not run Windows 11. Oh, Microsoft has also strongly implied that even computers which have TPM 2.0 and Secure Boot, but are older than an Intel 8th Gen Core or AMD Ryzen 2000 series CPU won't be supported in the final release. For preview builds, older hardware should work. Interesting. The company released AMD and Intel CPU compatibility lists that omit anything that's older than those generations. Okay.
That's
Some of you might have to upgrade.
That's rough.
That means that your Skylake laptops and desktops will not be compatible. That's actually...
Even if you have a Ryzen 1000, which isn't that old, you wouldn't be able to do anything with it. Anything with it for the 1000 series.
That does seem pretty odd, actually.
That's actually really rough.
Yeah. Though most people at this point do have 2000, like Ryzen 2000.
Some cases.
Yeah. And it's still going to take years before nothing is compatible with Windows 10 anymore.
The old computer, actually.
So you'll have time to upgrade.
The old PC that did run a 1000 series Ryzen, it was a 1300, wasn't it? That we had?
I think
PC?
so.
Yeah. My brother tells me he apparently actually beefed the thing up.
He did.
Yeah. Everything in there has been changed except for the motherboard and the tower. Including, I'm not kidding you, the man got a 5000 series Ryzen.
Which one?
I believe it's a Ryzen 5. I don't know exactly which one.
Oh, it's probably the 5500.
Possibly. Either way, you know.
That's I was not expecting to hear this today.
He almost leapfrogged me. He almost leapfrogged me in CPU performance.
How much RAM does he have?
I believe he is at 64 gigs.
30.
Either 32 or 64.
What
Actually,
the hell,
no,
man?
Actually, it might be 32.
32. Like 64. Like this man.
It might have been 32. What else?
What about the GPU?
Yeah, that's where it's a little less impressive. I think he's GTX 1650.
Oh no.
Or 1800.
Oh no. Wait, 1800?
Maybe.
That's not the GPU.
1080. 1080.
Dude, like, come on, man.
I don't know. brain farting, I guess. Yeah.
It's all good.
Either 10. I think he might be at either a 1070 or 1080.
I mean, both are pretty decent. To pair that with the 5500.
It's a little lopsided.
Yeah, it's a little weird there.
But it is interesting. He got that stuff, and he will be able to now confidently play Battlefield when it comes out.
That's telling you on it. I wonder, like, I actually kind of want to ask him how much these upgrade cost him, but I guess I'll ask him in person at some
I
point.
do not remember. I think actually a couple of them were just straight up hand-me-downs from like a friend. So.
Aww.
We'll
Okay, well, that's actually pretty nice of his friend.
He definitely like scavenged and scrounged. He made it work, and I'm proud of him.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So congratulations to you.
And he'll be good to upgrade to Windows 11 now.
That depends if he even has the TPM 2.0.
That's right.
Remember.
Windows. What is going on? What's with all of these requirements? Windows.
I guess the windows have been closed for some people. Now, with that said, I think that's pretty much everything that needs to be mentioned about Windows 11 at this time.
So my thing is, do you think Windows... I remember the trend frequently being that it seems like every other... Like, Windows iterations seem to alternate between being really good and really bad. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Mm-hmm. Windows 7 was amazing to people.
XP was really good. Vista was really bad. I never had a problem with Vista personally, but a lot of people, Vista was really bad. 7 was amazing. 8 was really bad.
Mm-hmm. 8.1 was great.
I'm ignoring 8.1 for now. I'm going to go straight to 10. 10 was pretty good.
I mean, a lot of people would say otherwise, actually, at first.
Really so?
And then it got pretty good, yeah. Because Windows 10 was pretty buggy at first. Insanely so, actually.
That's fair. But yeah, so is it possible that Windows 11 is going to be really bad?
It could start off being
if we go off the
buggy.
pattern.
I don't think it's going to be bad.
If we go off the pattern, Windows 11 is going to be really bad. And you got to immediately jump to Windows 12 in a couple of years.
I'm pretty sure Windows has closed that gap. Like, give us Xbox OS as an alternative. I'm pretty sure that they've changed that up and, things are going to be better.
I would
At least
hope.
they better be, yeah.
I would hope, but you don't know that for certain.
Yeah, right. We won't know that for certain until we get the operating systems in.
Certainly, I don't think there's a necessary need to upgrade right now.
No, yeah.
Not right now. In a couple of years, as it becomes more and more mandatory, probably, but...
Yeah, eventually, they're going to be leaving gentle reminders of, hey, you should probably start thinking about upgrading soon.
Oh, I got that all the time.
Yeah.
Back in the day with 10.
Exactly. So yeah, eventually, my Windows 7 Pro PC, I was reaching the point where I wasn't going to be able to use it anymore. There were some features that I straight up would not be able to use, and I think that actually ray tracing to an extent just wasn't going to straight up work at all on Windows 7. So I had to upgrade to Windows 10. Yeah. So, things like this will just happen with due time. But yeah, there's no need to really rush to upgrade yet.
It is interesting, though, that, black screen of death replaces the blue screen.
Nice.
Ooh.
It's going to be the black screen of death, so it's going to feel even deadlier.
It's a little less obnoxious on the eyes if you're working in the dark. But
I mean, I kind of like it, actually.
Nevertheless, Windows 11 was certainly a bit of an explosion of news. Speaking of explosions, another company has recently had one.
The Elgato explosion. And we're not talking about literal explosions here, because I know that tech and explosions kind of go hand in hand.
Elgato just kind of blew up, guys. I'm really sorry. You no longer have screen capture devices.
Be quiet, you. They have plenty of capture cards. They just didn't come out with any new ones.
So,
and a lot of people were actually kind of complaining about that.
Tell us about Elgato here.
Yeah. So, yeah, no new capture cards, but we did get a bunch of other products. In fact, around 7, I think. So there's a new webcam. It's a 1080p webcam, but it is one that has a Sony sensor in it.
What does that entail?
It means that it does have a higher quality sensor, which means that the image quality is better than what you're going to find on a lot of other webcams. I've seen it for myself on other people's videos because I can't really afford to get a review unit at the moment. I've seen it, and yeah, in comparison to other $200 webcams, it does look considerably better. When it comes to color reproduction, it also looks considerably better. So if you're going to be getting a webcam for streaming in general, that is the way to go. the Stream Deck, and not the Steam Deck, but the Stream Deck, got an upgrade now. Well, it got wholly replaced now by one that has like an actual genuinely good stand and a detachable cable, USB-C cable, but it's essentially the exact same Stream Deck. Otherwise, they also released new microphone arms, and that was actually kind of a big deal because they released two different ones. They released a short one, like in case you don't need anything too big, like you just kind of need a little more reachability. Some people have actually like showcased having like the mic arm over here and then going like underneath your monitor with your microphone here. And I was just thinking, wow, like that's such a space-saving solution in a way. I dig it. And they also released a much bigger one, like in case you wanted to go overhead, like on top of your monitor and then like back down and things like that. Yeah, so like generally pretty cool.
Sort of like a boom mic setup.
Yeah.
Okay.
They also released an audio interface, but they don't sell XLR microphones. So I found that to be actually kind of strange because they do sell microphones. They sell USB microphones like the Wave 1 and the Wave 2, which are both great USB microphones, but they don't have XLR microphones in their lineup.
Now my question is this interface a XLR to USB?
Yeah.
Okay, that's very confusing then.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like every audio interface that we have seen has always been analog to digital. Like that's actually the entire purpose of an interface.
No, because I was thinking of maybe there's some like sort of weird system where it's like you get your USB Elgato mic and you get a USB to XLR cable put into the interface, but then it makes no sense because then you're putting it straight back into a USB.
Yeah, it wouldn't even work either way. I don't think.
My best guess is that Elgato is still trying to get a piece of the pie. Like if you end up buying an XLR mic because you want that quality over a USB mic, they still want you to get an Elgato device to have to put it, connecting it to the computer.
To me, this just kind of tells me that they are working on an XLR microphone, but they're just not ready for it yet.
Do you really think so?
Yeah, I mean, like it's just par for the course. There are only so many products that they can release.
I mean, I feel like if they were working on an XLR mic, they would have held off on releasing the interface until after they did. They would have released it alongside it.
Not necessarily. No. Yeah, because in this case, like the audio interface is still perfectly usable with a bunch of other things.
And it's totally usable, but you'd think that they would hold off because it's like, oh, look, we have an Elgato XLR mic. What? You need an interface? Look at that. As opposed to now where it's like, oh, you just have the interface and then the mic comes out like several months later. It's like...
AverMedia did do that. Like they released an audio interface, which I actually have over there. That's the AverMedia Nexus, and they released a microphone to go along with it. So like I do get what you're saying. And yeah, like it would have made sense to do it that way, but I also don't really have a like I'm not too puzzled, I guess, about them doing it this way. Because either way, like it is a product that does offer a lot of simplicity that a lot of people are going to appreciate. I mean, it's literally one giant knob for you to control things with, and you can like switch modes of like what you want to adjust at that moment, things like that.
I see.
The I/O is extremely simple. It has a headphone jack. It has an XLR port, and I think just USB-C to connect it to your computer, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything else. Like you usually find line in, line out. Sometimes other XLR ports in case you want to connect multiple microphones to it, but I mean, to be real, if you're streaming, you're probably only needing to work with one microphone, things like that. People also say that it's got enough gain to power a Shure at SM7B and to work with dynamic mics in general just pretty well. So yeah, like people are keeping an eye on this interface. I'm not exactly too sure on the pricing around it actually. Because when I found out that webcam was $200,
what?
Yeah. I mentioned that earlier. You missed it, didn't you?
I was paying attention to all the features. I missed the price.
You mother. Oh.
That works too, I guess.
It still worked pretty well. So okay, I think it's called the Elgato XLR. Let me see, Elgato XLR. I'm very curious. No, Wave XLR. That's what it's called. Makes sense. It looks like their whole audio lineup is just going to be called that. So if you see, like
It's
just
a
one giant button.
clean-looking interface.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
very clean.
Super simple. I'm sure a lot of people will appreciate that. I like it, but it's not aesthetically for me. Like the Go XLR is more for me because of the RGBs. But if I click on Shop Now, it's $160. It's cheaper than the webcam.
You can just get a PreSonus interface for like $100. Save yourself some time
Yeah,
and money.
yeah, and you can also get a Focusrite Scarlett interface for like about the same price. You
Exactly.
can get a
There's
solo.
options.
Yeah, for sure.
They don't look as aesthetically clean and minimalist as that Wave XLR is, but
Mhm.
it gets the job done for a cheaper price.
I will say that the software is a pretty big deal with this, though.
You think so?
Yeah, because like one thing that Elgato has done incredibly well is that even though their hardware isn't usually like exceptional, it's the software that makes it special. Like the Wave microphones, they sound good, but I don't think that they sound $160 good. However, because of the software, you can do a lot more with them.
Mm.
Like it is kind of like having an audio interface, but by just using a USB microphone, because the interface is just there through software. So that's what gives it a good chunk of its value, in my opinion, at least. So with this interface, it's going to be, you know, like the ability to EQ your microphone still, even though you don't have like a visual EQ here. It's going to be things like being able to add a noise gate and things like that. Like the software is still going to add a lot to it that things like the Focusrite Scarlett don't really offer, because the Focusrite Scarlett doesn't operate over software.
Mhm.
It's like all just as it is. What you see is what you get. Though it is a fantastic interface. It's super clean. But this right here is also set to be pretty clean. It's set to be a pretty good interface. And considering how affordable it is, how minimalistic and potentially how powerful it is, I can see a lot of people buying into it.
Do you think you're going to review any of these products?
If I can afford it. It strongly depends on that.
If you guys have interest in seeing reviews for these products, leave a comment down below if you're on YouTube at least.
Yes, and if Elgato would like to work with us, I would be more than happy to review these on the channel, of course. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it in terms of products. I
suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, it does say something that Elgato just put out all of these announcements. I don't think they had like a convention, Elgato Con or something.
The Elgato Con.
But I suppose just being a company like that, they sort of have that kind of freedom to be able to put that stuff out there whenever they want. And speaking of freedom,
Yes.
transition again. Now, actually, before we get into the real transition, I should note
Disclaimer.
big disclaimer here. Tech Summit, the channel, and the Tech Summit podcast is apolitical. We do not engage in politics or political discussion here. We do not have any necessarily reflections of any political views whatsoever in this piece. And I feel like we need to note that just because this next piece of tech does have like a lot of political leanings and agendas attached to it.
Yeah.
And we do not want to focus on that. We are focusing exclusively on the technological and we'll get to in a moment, security and privacy aspects.
Yeah. So this has nothing to do with politics, at least like in the context of the podcast itself. However, there are political connotations to this product itself.
But for this podcast, because if you guys want to hear political takes on this kind of stuff, there are other places for that. This is not the place.
Yeah.
In this instance, we are the Tech Summit podcast, so let us talk purely about the tech of the Freedom Phone.
Yes. And with that said, with disclaimers out of the way, I am currently on the product page for the Freedom Phone, which you can actually find through freedomphone.com, fairly simple. And you are going to find the logo, which, I mean, it is actually a pretty nice looking logo. It is pretty clean. If you
It's
ask
very
me.
corporate.
Yeah.
Very corporate, very...
I dig it, actually. Like, I wouldn't expect that for a phone. I would expect that for like an insurance company.
Or a campaign.
Or a campaign. Which, yeah, I mean, like you could very much say, yeah.
But again, the tech.
The tech. So we have features such as, gosh damn it, we have features such as Band-free, they call it. Uncensorable app store. So our own app store. Read what you like, watch what you like, think what you like. Nothing is censored. And there's a buy it now button right there as well, immediately. There's also going to be promoting free speech. Preloaded apps. Some of the most popular banned and unbanned sites and apps. Right.
Again,
Yeah.
apolitical. We are keeping that out of it.
Yeah.
Let us not focus on that. There's a
Yeah.
clear leaning that they have here, but we're trying not to focus on that.
Right. Like, this is supposed to be all about the tech again. I read that accidentally.
Yeah.
I wish I'd read ahead.
I am going to put a little bit on that on them for just being so upfront about that. It's like, guys, come on. But
Yeah, I really think that they
please,
shouldn't have been.
please just focus on the tech.
Yeah.
They know their audience, I guess.
Mhm.
But
Preloaded directly on your phone. And then there is a free speech first operating system, which I feel like it's kind of being...
Freedom OS.
Yeah. Freedom OS. We developed the first mass marketable mobile phone operating system based on free speech. And the logo kind of just looks like a VPN.
It really does.
Say hello to Trust, your privacy guard. Your data, your rules. With powerful tools such as Trust, you are in control of what your apps can do whenever you want. Trust will help you understand the security of your device and warn you about possible threats. We want to...
I read that line.
Oh,
we shouldn't read that line.
Thank you. Okay, thank you
Do
for
not
stopping.
read that line.
Thank you for stopping me. It does have... Oh, wow. It's got dual micro SD cards actually on it, so that's actually kind of cool. One SIM tray. You see, I value that aspect about it because, like, there are phones that offer dual SIM instead of dual micro SD cards, and I'm kind of like, why not do that? Like OnePlus, for instance, like they do dual SIM instead. But it's mostly because of like their market. Like in case you do want to have like those two phone numbers on there, and things like that. Like I do see the value in that, but I personally find more value in having more storage myself.
I do find it a bit of an issue, a small little issue with their mission statement and some of the features here. When it comes to easily transferring phones, just pop in the SIM card out of your phone and put it in this one. That's it, right?
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a phone that is based around uncensored, no issues with that stuff, complete free speech. The problem is that your SIM card is coming from particular ISPs, which technically still have the ability to censor you if you're saying certain things that should not be said. So,
Or that they don't want you to say for that matter.
So it's like...
So yeah, I mean, there is no such thing
That
as
is-
not being...
That is the most that I'm going to say on the political aspect of things. Just pointing out that tiny little bit of irony.
Yeah,
and
there's no actual freedom with us. Like,
I'm going to conclude that. Now, of course, you can look up actual specs if you want. If you want, you can look up individual specs while I report on this other little piece of news when it comes to the Freedom Phone here. And that is specifically that for all the talk that it is about being completely uncensored, free speech, and safe and secure, there actually seems to be a lot of privacy concerns. Because I am calling from the Daily Dot here as a citing my source here. Security experts are raising serious questions about the device, noting that the website for the Freedom Phone does not provide any pertinent information regarding its specifications or source code. Matthew Hickey, co-founder of the cybersecurity firm Hacker House, told the Daily Dot that the Freedom Phone appears to be nothing more than a rebranded Umidigi A9 Pro, a Chinese smartphone that costs as little as $120 on AliExpress. Now, remind me, what is the MSRP of the Freedom Phone there, according to that website?
$499.99.
Ouch.
Yeah.
This device is a drop-shielded, customizable Android-based phone, Hickey said. They can be bought and shipped in bulk from Asia with custom logos and branding as to give the appearance of a phone that has been designed for a unique purpose. Hickey added that the phone is notorious for its poor security due largely to a use of processors from MediaTek, a Taiwanese company that provides chips for smartphones. I have never encountered a secure MediaTek device in my entire life, Hickey said. Using MediaTek for anything and expecting privacy or security is fundamentally flawed. Hickey even stated that MediaTek's processors are widely used in smartphones throughout North Korea. due to their highly customizable nature and low security barrier, which allows the regime to easily implement surveillance backdoors. So essentially, this
You blew
phone. So essentially, this phone that is being marketed as a phone that is uncensored and unfettered from any sort of over censorship or overwatch of any sort of like government or whatever, could potentially be embedded with software that allows you to be spied on by anybody.
The issue with having a completely free marketplace when it comes to apps and things like that is that you're completely open to malware as well. Like that is an issue. You have no protection in that sense. The reason why, at least part of the reason why operating systems are so curated, like besides them wanting your data, yes, is that they want to make sure that you're not downloading malware on your end. Like, for instance, the app store on iOS is very heavily curated for that reason. And in this case, you know, you do have the freedom of downloading whatever you want, but you could really end up. You could. Fair enough. But you could very well end up downloading something quite dangerous.
There's extreme concerns when it comes to security, privacy, and just well-being in general.
Yeah.
There's a lot of problems here. And again, we're talking about a phone that goes for as low as $120 being upcharged to $500.
I actually can't even find any specs on that, actually.
No specs.
No specs that I can find.
Can we look up the specs for the specific phone model that it appears to be?
It's not even on the website.
No, but I mean, like look up for the Umidigi A9 Pro.
Oh.
Look up the specs for that, actually.
Sure thing.
Do you need some spelling help for that?
I think I got it, because I think I saw the name earlier. Umidigi, like that. Yeah. Umidigi, what was it?
A9 Pro.
A9 Pro specs. Okay. Let's see.
Let's get the specs for that.
Let me see. It's got a 6.3-inch screen, so yeah, it is a pretty big screen. It's got a widescreen 1080p display. It's got different storage options from 64 gigs to 128 gigs, but it only supports 4G. What are you guys doing?
Ouch.
Yeah. It's the era of 5G. Okay, so 6 gigs of RAM over here. Not bad. When it comes to SIM card size, it is going to be nano, you know, like pretty typical. SIM slots, dual SIM. Okay, kind of odd.
Well, we saw that in the little promotional image. There seemed to be 2 slots,
Well,
2 SIM cards.
Those seem to be 2 micro SD card slots, actually.
You sure?
Unless I made a mistake there.
They looked like SIM card slots.
Whoops.
That's what they were advertising. Oh, just pop out your SIM card from your current phone and put it in that one.
Okay.
So you could side boot.
Wow, I'm on something this morning then.
Coffee.
I made a mistake. Yes,
How was the coffee?
It was pretty good.
That's a very nice mug, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I bought it on Amazon. Yeah. So yeah, there's a dual SIM, 24 megapixel camera. That's going to be for the rear camera. And this phone costs less than $200, as we already specified. Now, I'm not seeing anything regarding the CPU. I'm assuming that it is going to be a Snapdragon CPU, but the question is which one it would be. I don't think it could possibly be the most recent one. That is highly
Not for that
unlikely.
price.
No, not at all.
Not remotely for that price.
Security, facial recognition, and fingerprint scanning.
It really, what this really comes off to me, and again, I'm trying to keep politics out of this, but what it really comes off to me is like certain people having concerns about this kind of stuff and wanting a quote-unquote uncensored smartphone where they can do whatever they want on it, and you have a company that sees that and sees dollar signs and just like is trying to make money off that.
Yeah.
Now, again, keeping politics out of this, you know, whether or not who's at fault in that instance or whatever is like, it's up in the air, I guess. But don't buy the Freedom Phone.
No.
Do not buy the Freedom. If you value, I don't care how much you value free speech or whatever. If you value your security and privacy and your data, do not buy the Freedom Phone. And your money.
There would be a very small niche for this phone anyway. So,
extremely small niche.
Yeah.
Um,
Even though you like you can use whatever apps you want without like censorship and things like that, or like the apps that have been censored or taken down. Like, I mean, how many people are going to be buying this phone and having that same experience with you?
The phone just seems to be dripping in irony. There's just so much irony behind wanting a phone free from like censorship and spying and surveillance and stuff like that, and immediately going into a device that is almost guaranteed to be surveying you.
Yeah.
And probably from something that you want even less surveillance from, certain folks that are not,
Yeah.
yeah.
That aspect has been brought up a lot, actually. Like certain people who might be up to nefarious things, downloading nefarious files.
It's very,
Yeah.
It's, and again, a markup. We're talking almost $400 markup for this. Just don't buy this phone.
Yeah.
Guys.
And if you really want this phone, the Umizeji A9 Pro will give you a good bang for the buck. So there you go.
You have to download your own American flag wallpaper.
Yeah.
That's a bit inconvenient.
And
but
there you go. And so like I said, the price of freedom is steep.
The one,
because it's
I will
up.
say though, out of all the things that they did show on there that just are big privacy and security nightmares, DuckDuckGo does, to my understanding, actually be a pretty decent like web browser and search engine.
Sure, yeah.
To my understanding, DuckDuckGo is pretty good with like.
I mean, like, can't you get that anyway on
exactly
like, normal apps?
Exactly.
Store?
You do not need. Like you could just download it off your iPhone. You do not need a Freedom phone.
Yeah, this honestly strikes me kind of a lot of like the Escobar phone.
There was an Escobar phone? What's that?
You haven't heard about the Escobar phone?
No, please tell me.
Okay, this is super important.
Okay.
So the Escobar phone is actually, so it was a foldable phone.
Okay.
I think it was the Escobar phone 2, actually, because they did have iterations of it. So the Escobar phone 2 in particular was a foldable phone. It was a foldable phone that was running Samsung's own skin. It was running, I mean, the wallpaper by default was a Pablo Escobar, like with his numbers up. Like his prison mate numbers.
Okay.
I'm not sure what you would call it actually. And it was a golden phone.
Gold.
Yeah, with the Escobar phone logo on it. It was a beautiful phone.
When was this?
Until you peeled off the gold. And you found out that underneath it's just a Samsung Galaxy Fold. They were selling these for like $500.
Well, how much does a Samsung Galaxy Fold go for?
More than 1,000, I think.
Oh, at least this one sounds like you're actually saving money a little bit.
Yeah, because these were stolen phones.
Oh.
They fell off a truck. I mean,
and
somebody just happened to pick it up, right?
When was this? I'm guessing this is pretty recent. If it's a Fold, Samsung Fold.
I think it was sometime between 2019 and 2020. I think it was more of a thing, at least with version 2. And this phone, it was like easily discovered to be the case because also you would find a lot of people that were ordering the phone and were not getting their phones. Only YouTubers who ordered the phone got their phone.
Oh, so it was a scam. Okay.
Yeah, it was a scam. All together. So yeah, that golden phone turned out to be the golden child.
Yeah,
I guess. Thank you.
But yeah, no, that's rough.
Yeah,
But
so that's just kind of what it reminds me of.
Similarly, this is also a scam. Again, we must reiterate on a technological. Again, keeping politics out of it, we have to keep reiterating that. I imagine someone out there is going to find this episode and is going to be like putting out essays in the comments or something like that.
Yeah.
But we have to reiterate once again, this has nothing to do with politics.
Yeah.
Our political views are varied and not involved in any of this whatsoever.
Yeah.
Do not buy this phone
Yeah.
for security purposes.
Fun news.
Let's get out of this. Let's get out of this pretty dour thing.
Yeah.
We found some weird tech.
Woo.
All right, so we found some pretty weird tech. For this from Gizmondo, a new spring-loaded screw that turns drywall into sound-absorbing panels.
Tell me more. I might be in the market
Absolutely.
for this. Considering that the
Yes.
studio is actually falling apart. You guys can't really see the ceiling here, but it is indeed.
Heat, man. It gets hot up here when we're not in here.
Yeah.
So adhesive tends to.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what to do to actually keep these sound panels up. So if you have watched or listened up to this point, please leave a comment down below. I would very much like some suggestions on the matter. I have tried Gorilla Glue spray, and I have also tried Gorilla Glue double-sided tape, like the really thick ones, and it's not working. So help.
Okay, so according to Gizmondo, the smooth, featureless walls around your home are easy to paint and great for hanging artwork, but they're also very effective at transmitting sound waves from room to room, a less desired feature. Naturally.
Yeah.
Adding soundproofing is one solution, but a cheaper and easier way to install is to install drywall using these clever spring-loaded sound dampening screws instead. When attaching sheets of drywall to the wooden framed walls or ceiling of a room, special screws with a deeper thread are used to ensure blah, 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 blah. I think they're just explaining home appliances here.
Yeah. It's like, thank you. I've never owned an appliance before. Thank you.
There are many solutions to preventing sounds from escaping a room. Insulation blown into the walls will help absorb sound waves, and garages typically use thicker sheets of drywall that are better at absorbing sounds. You can even cover the walls in sound-absorbing panels with angled features that dissipate a sound wave's energy, a solution often used in recording studios. But these can be expensive and
Yes.
unsightly.
Unreliable.
Unsightly. The sound screw, developed by Hakan Wernersson of the Department of Material Science and Applied Mathematics at Sweden's Malmö University. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing all of that wrong. Especially the word university. Is a more streamlined solution that requires no custom installation tools. Whereas a traditional drywall screw holds a panel of drywall snug against the wooden studs that make up the structure of a room, the sound screw features a flexible spring just below the head. It still holds a piece of drywall securely against a wall, with a very slight gap allowing the spring to expand and compress, dampening the energy of sound waves hitting the walls, making them much quieter as they reverberate into another room. During testing in a sound lab, researchers say the use of the sound screws was found to reduce sound transmission by up to 9 decibels.
Wow.
Making the sound bouncing into a neighbor's room about half as loud to human ears.
That's pretty good, actually.
That is very good.
Yeah.
So,
How much is it?
The creator of the sound screw is still looking for manufacturers to put their creation to mass production.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
not ready yet. It's still
Yeah.
in prototype phase.
Oh, man.
While its design means it will be more complicated to make and in turn more expensive than standard drywall screws to purchase, in the long run, it should be more economical. A more economical alternative to other soundproofing methods, particularly when it comes to how easy they are to install. If you already can use a drill or a screwdriver, you already have all the expertise you need. So these
Fantastic.
these are not even the manufacturing phase yet. They're very much in prototype, very much like Shark Tank presenting it, kind of thing.
Cool.
Like-
I mean, they should present it to Shark Tank, if it's still a thing, that is.
They're out. I mean, no. Shark Tank is still a thing. Actually,
Oh, okay.
it is still a thing. But
Well, there you go. Present your idea, and I'm sure that they'll fund it. I'll
it's
buy it.
I would say it's a very interesting idea. Another instance of weird tech news.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, it would absolutely be a amazing thing for studios, especially one like this where the sound panels unfortunately seem to give us a rough time, especially in the summer months.
Yeah, please. I need a solution where these things will actually stay. So again, if anybody has any offers, let me know. Affiliate links are welcome too.
Honestly, very much, yeah.
Yeah. So with that said,
Yeah.
thank you so much for watching tonight's episode. Tonight was indeed quite
A
and
varied episode.
yes, it
We've
was.
had some ups and downs.
Some highs and lows.
Bad idea.
Oh, I forgot.
Bad idea.
Yeah, but that's it. Man, indeed. I very much look forward to some other irrelevant releases to the things that we talked about, such as the Steam Deck and the Switch OLED, because I would like to be able to review those at some point. By the way, the review of the Beat Studio, that's something that will definitely be coming, so do keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
And, of course, I mean, do you have any Final
No,
words.
thank you very much for listening to the Tech Summit podcast. All of that social media will be at the bottom of the video if you're here on YouTube.
That's right. And if you're listening, then do make sure to check out the description of said listening app, podcasting app, because it is still going to be there.
And of course, remember, if you are a part of the Patreon, you are entered as part of a giveaway to win these beautiful Raycon headphones right over here.
Indeed. And yeah, like make sure to watch the bonus episode if you're a patron too. Do make sure to stop by over there. We would love to hear your feedback. You know, what topics would you like us to cover on bonus episodes? More on that on the Tech Summit podcast.
Bonus. Number 20, I think it would be this week's.
No, 19.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
With
19.
that said, I'm Chris.
I'm Francisco. Until next time, enjoy.
Good night. Travel well.